Hey guys, Eva here. This is another video response to JudeDirect, and her video was about cloaking, as in spiritual cloaking, and when, why, and how to do it. She described what her cloak looks like, which she discovered through meditation, I think it was. And I was going to share a prose poem that I wrote many years ago about what the cloak I was then using looked like, but I can't locate it anywhere, so I guess I won't be doing that, but I guess I can try to recall part of what it was all about. And I feel safe doing that because this is a spiritual cloak that I no longer particularly use. So yeah. It was one that I tended to use more in dreamscape or dream time or astral travel, and it was in conjunction with a friend of mine, and it was kind of like protection to keep me invisible from things I was trying not to connect with, and just kind of was a place marker for my friend to recognize me by. And it pretty much just looked like a chrome sphere, or maybe a large egg made out of mirror, and it had colors associated with it, which were light electric teal and gold, and it had other functions. So whenever I reached my destination or I was done with the activity, it would transform into some other thing that was used to purify the space. So if there were any interlopers or tag-alongs, they would potentially no longer be an issue. And for people who don't practice this sort of thing, I realize that everything I just said is totally woo-woo. And you're like, oh my god, I had no idea that Eva was so crazy. But this is something I've been doing since I was a little kid. I've never really read books on how to create shields or cloaks or how to astral travel. These are things I learned on my own. And I want to try not to talk too much about astral travel because that's an entirely different topic from cloaking and shielding. What I use my cloaks for usually are, like I said, when I'm in my dream state or I'm preparing to fall asleep. It's a form of protection for me because I do have a tendency to accidentally astral travel, and I've been aware of that ever since I was 5. So these are all techniques that I have had to invent for myself on the fly to make myself feel safe and secure and in authority wherever I'm at. Typically for me, a cloak is all about feeling safe. It's not really so much about not being seen or being invisible. Oftentimes I find, well, let me back up a little bit. Yeah, so it's about safety for sure. And ever since I was little, I've also been, I guess you could say, trained to recognize the spirits of others or the intentions of other people. My dad was very diligent in training me from a young girl to always be on the lookout for who is the predator in this crowd. Which one of these people I'm around desires to do harm to me? And I'm really thankful for that training because there's always at least one person and you can pick them out if you know what you're looking for. And I also used to scuba dive a lot, and there's all kinds of creatures on the reef like octopi or scorpion fish that are really good at blending in with their surroundings. You can't see them at all unless you know what you're looking for, and then they stand right out. And I feel that's the same way with cloaks and other people like predators who know how not to be seen. And the problem is with spiritual people who practice this sort of thing, or predators, is that you know your own kind. If you recognize a spirit in somebody else, it's almost guaranteed that they see you too. And I've been in quite a few situations where I have felt threatened by somebody else, or I'm aware that they are in the process of doing harm to somebody who isn't paying attention, or maybe sizing me up as a potential target. I'm really short. I mean, I'm not very threatening looking at all. I have kind of a high voice. I'm chubby and soft and squishy. I laugh a lot. But if I get pissed off, things change a little bit, or at least I feel like I change a little bit. When I'm confronted by somebody who I can't hide from, either they're physically threatening me, or they've already seen me, and you can't hide from somebody who has already seen you, is I will do the opposite of cloaking, and that is to project myself, almost like Thumbelina. I try to get real big and tall. I square myself off, and I stand directly facing this person and project a sense of I am not to be flexed with, And it's not necessarily an adversarial thing, or I wish you would, I'm not trying to engage in anything, but I'm definitely making it known through body language, which is a cloak, that I know what they're about, and they better know what I'm about too, because shit's about to get real. Someone's going to get messed up, and I can guarantee you it is not going to be me. Not today. So yeah. How to cloak and not be seen is another thing entirely. Usually you have to be very on point with everybody that is in your surrounding area, and I find that to be difficult. I usually try to blend in with the crowds. I don't stand out on any kind of edges of where there's a bunch of people. And honestly, pretty much everybody is really not paying attention. Everybody's distracted, especially now with cell phones. So all you have to do is encourage that kind of numb and sleepy vibe that everybody's just kind of tumbling through life with, and you're good to go. Watching how people behave, you can gauge the vibe of a crowd. It's like watching fish on a reef. Anytime there's a big predator coming through, they all scatter. Or when you're in a swamp and all of a sudden all the frogs shut up. Oh man, something's coming through and somebody knows something about it. So I try to keep my cloaks ever transformative based on what's happening around me, if that makes sense. I'm not really comfortable talking about what my cloak looks like these days. That's kind of the equivalent of sharing a large part of what I do. And since I can't control who watches these things, I'm not comfortable saying all that. But I did want to talk about the topic. I find it to be endlessly interesting, and it's something that I've been pursuing almost my whole life. So I'm really happy this conversation is around. If I think of anything else, I'll do another video. Probably going to talk about astral projection next. Holler mahalo.